Hello friends, today I am here with a good book on Vastu. The book is Vastu, written by Robert E.Svoboda. Robert E.Svoboda is a tantric and he has discussed the science of Vastu. He has written other books on the Aghora series, the 3 books, and he has written a book on the Saturn therapeutic myth. He is a practitioner of Tantra and he is also well versed in the sciences of Tantra, astrology and Vastu as well. This is his book on Vastu. So Vastu, this is the Vastu Purusha Mandala he is trying to show. So the Vastu Vidya, as he calls it, considers the effect on mind, on the spacing of the things inside the house and the plot of the house, the construction of the house and all those things which affects human beings' mind, since rays are continuously coming from distant planets and entering our mind through the fingertips. It enters the mind and that's why we wear rings on fingers, right? So that's how prana shakti from grahas enter our mind, and Vastu thinks about the situation when we can influence or block the negative effect of those rays on us due to our karmic consequences. So Vastu is the science which makes us feel very good in our home. So that he talks about the 5 elements, the 10 directions, 5 elements and the 10 directions. So astrology, the grahas has been included in it, and each of these grahas has got directions. So based on the directions of the grahas, the direkshas of the house, each of the grahas, the influencing factor, the articles that are influenced by the graha, the north and the northeast, the west, the southwest, all those 10 directions are defined and discussed, and suggestions are made as per astrological deducements as well. So it is a pretty comprehensive treatise or book on Vastu, and is very practical as well, which we can make practical in our home. It's very simply written and it is not complicated. It's a very cool approach to Vastu based on the 5 elements and the 10 directions. And then he brings the 9 Jyotisha planets into it and gives attributes that are very well defined, so that the house can be really made into a very good place to live. So human body has got 5 elements. The bones are basically earthy. The blood, lymph and other fluids are watery. The digestive juices fiery, the nervous system airy, and the vacant spaces in the body, the interiors of lungs, heart and intestines and ventricles of the brain are composed of space. So these are the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air and space, that he has shown in the book. Yeah, it is defined by such a structure of square, the crescent, the triangle, the oval and the dots. So that's how he starts. Vata arises from then there are the 3 doshas, right? The Vada, Pitta and Kapha. Vada arises from air and space, Pitta from fire and water, and Kapha from water and earth. So these are all considered because this Vastu is the factor that denotes how mind get influenced due to living in a house or a building. So 5 elements, initiating them or offering ritual is called Panchopachara Puja. Panchopachara Puja means 5 offering ritual, that's in Tantra, by which these 5 elements are activated or made active or positive in our body. So he talks about that ritual in the book. Then he tries to let you know about the 5 elements. So 5 elements are there, and these are the diagrams he has given for the 5 elements, beautifully shown, that is from top to bottom. Yeah, that's a nice book showing the elements of Vastu. Then there's the space, and then there's the directions and the space, how they should be filled, how the space in your house should be filled with what, and in which direction what should be placed, and that gives a perfect nice attitude to the people living in the house. That has been discussed. So Vastu is a way of awakening the awareness possessed by the 5 elements within a well-defined region to create a healthy cooperative relationship with them on the basis of this unitary consciousness that all energy and matter share. So there are the Sattva, Raja and Tamo Guna. Other than that, in Indian philosophy, Sattva is the feel-good, Raja is the restless activity, and Tamas is the dullness or inertia factor. So where you want some good activity and activeness to going on, the Rajas Guna should come, and in that room or space you should provide something so that your mind will become more Rajogun centric. So that's the way he discusses it in the book. Your game room, for example, should support Rajas. So every space should ultimately promote Sattvic Gun, the feel good and good factor, because Sattva harmonizes and harmony points us in direction of Sukha or comfort. So that's how he discusses it. So he talks about Prana and Prana Shakti. Prana is the breath of life. One of Prana's chief tasks is to enkindle the body's Tejas. Tejas is Agni Tattva, fire element. And as your Tejas get well kindled, use it to cook up some Ojas. These are Sanskrit words. Ojas, the body's superlative and most intelligent form of the water element, is a subtle glue that integrates body, mind and spirit into a living individual. So then he discusses the practical aspects of Vastu in the 4th chapter as it proceeds. He discusses on the Samkhya Darshana, the Samkhya Siddhanta, and here is it, he's given in the diagram, the Prakriti, Purusha and the elements involved in it. That's given in the book. So he proceeds further and he talks about the more practical aspects of Vastu Shastra. So he give an example of a room, this shown here, it's called Mary's living room, and he tries to study this room. So a living room should be fairly central, shouldn't it, he asks, and he tries to focus our attention on what are the particularities or attention we should give in detail to our house, which should be placed where, what in the dining room, what in the living room, what in the kitchen, where should be the kitchen, which direction, all those things he gives idea. So how full should this space be and how empty? So he says you should fill it 30%, but if you place the 30% in the center of the room, that's not good, right? So there should be an idea of placing it where, and in the living room he says that should be only 30% and other areas should be calm and relaxing so that you can relax in the living room. So he discusses that ratio. If you put all of them in the middle of the room, it would feel like a lot more than 30%. So the last question is, what qualities should this item possess to achieve the results desired? So here in this the picture that I showed you just now, Mary's living room, here this western wall, there's a western wall that's windowless, and its northern wall consists almost entirely of near floor length window. So there are a lot of windows in the north and no window in the west as per this diagram. So this is good because the Vastu system enjoins that light should enter the home chiefly from north and east. The Vastu says that light should enter from north and east. So it's like something coming here and going vertically down, right? So that is the up area, north and east, and this is the down area. So you place things in the north and east corners, and then you remove other things around, and these places are up, other places are down. That sort of attitude is shown in the Vastu Shastra, stressing on north and south. So northeast is a contemplating meditation room, and there are more articles placed in the north, the table and all in the east, and other areas are kept vacant because that is high and this is low. That's how the light comes from the top, right? And that's based on that idea, and that's how it influenced the mind. So if you see the staircases, they are rajasic, sattva, raja and tamo gun, right? The three attributes of mind. Sattva is feel good, raja is active, and tamo is dull. So staircase are rajasic, it is activity centric. So the place where staircase come should be in the direction which is activity centric, and there should be, you should place around things that are related to it. So this is the sort of psychology it directs you into. This very interesting book. So it would obstruct the stairs in the southeast, and the passage to the dining room in the southwest. Is in the northeast and northwest, I guess they could work, but they still don't feel quite right, and he's discussing the facts in the book and trying to arrive at a decision, or rather he's making us understand. He has already arrived at the decision. It's not a thing that we discuss and understand. So it's a philosophy and with relation with nature. So that's how he discusses it. The center need to remain open, and the piano, the where you should place the piano, he studies and he understands that where he should place the piano, and then where you should place a sofa. That's a small room, and he analyzes and finds out where they should be placed. So he finds out that the piano should be placed in the middle, and the sofa should be placed in the area, the northeast corner, as he says. Yeah, so that is where you rest, and then there's the stair, and then you'll go up, sort of. That sort of psychology is applied in this, and it's a live psychology. It's not a dull study of the brain or analysis of some gland hormone sort of thing. It's something that really comes in your mind as a normal person. Anyone rather would feel that male, female, the feel-good factor, all are considered in it. There's some sort of photos of the houses, the sort of, he's analyzing houses and trying to arrive at a decision on what should be placed where. Here, the circle and the square. The square is a earth element, and circle is the air element. The heart is circle. Heart, the Muladhara is the base is earth, right? The 5 elements and the chakra, sort of. He discusses this. He studies the old temples of India, the pillars and the Shivlinga is shown. So he shows the aspect of Sri Yantra, and the Sri Yantra has got all the nature's laws involved in it, and there are many people who try to understand Sri Yantra. The most revered of yantras in India displays its Bindu proudly with its central triangle. So what is the structure? This is the Sri Yantra shown, the many triangles involved. He is understanding the ancient art of that is a type of combination of rectangles, triangles, the Bindu. So what is what he is trying to understand. So many societies besides India's have worshipped sky pillars. Among these worldwide devotees are the pagan Europeans. So he gives an exercise called Swarodaya. Swarodaya means watching the breath, the signs of breath to the left and right nostrils, intermittent breaths. That is Swarodaya, and watching the breath pattern, and watching the surroundings, and your left nostril and the nadi associated with the one's strength of the water element in the body to cool you down. Your right nostril activates the fire element in the body by the corresponding nadi to heat you up. Right. Then it discusses the Brahmasthana. The ancient Britons respected this principle in their sacred stone circles, such as those at Avebury and Stonehenge. This displays certain key characteristics: regularity for power, stone for stability, defined centers, open to the sky. In temples and churches built throughout Europe in later eras, the sanctum sanctorum or high altar was often placed in the main hall's most central space. Otherwise, that space might be kept relatively empty. to encourage attention to rise into a dome or steeple situated high above, as with the York Minster's great lantern tower. So these are the studies about some cathedrals and buildings in that era where they were aligned with the nature. So they call them, that's why the word he used, pagan, as I told last time. And this is an interesting information he gives. An era when the priestly class, the Brahmanas, predominated in cultural and social life. Such cities expanded out from the temple foci in the Ur of the Chaldees. The locus took the form of a ziggurat. In the Central and South American cities, the seminal structure was characteristically a pyramid. Many European cities once radiated outward from their cathedrals. A few like Vatican cities still have this arrangement. When the warrior class, Kshatriyas, gains ascendancy in a civilization, general populace is guided to building cities around a fort, castle or palace. The ancient layout for the city of Tokyo provides one such example of this schema. The Alamo, a fortified religious mission at the heart of the city of San Antonio, Texas, reflects both the spiritual and defensive motivation. The newer cities, particularly in the United States, are built around downtowns that house the markets and commercial centers where capitalists, let's say Vaishya, the congregate, and then the last class, Shudras, that's the merchant class, and then the Shudra class. So and during the communist era, Moscow's Red Square and Beijing's Tiananmen Square were transformed, at least in name, into monuments in the working classes, the Shudras, who were the rulers, and whatever the rulers, a city needs a center lest it become a place where there is no there. That is the insight he gives based on the Indian concept of the Chaturvarna, the four caste systems, and how that influences the making of a city, or the plan of a city. And yes, cities should be properly planned. At least during those ages, people had that idea that it should align with nature. Otherwise, there will not be proper alignment of human mindset while moving in the city through vehicles or walking through the city and doing work in the city that influences the mind. And they knew it very well because they were observers and researchers on mind as well. Then this he describes as water, earth, sky. The sky above, the water is shown below, and then there's the rectangle square, which is the earth element, water, earth and sky. So Vastu Purusha, this is the picture of the Vastu Purusha. The head towards northeast, and that's the other side diagonally opposite feet. So this is called Vastu Purusha Mandala. The diagram describes 64 squares, and each is assigned a god or devata, and that is shown in it, like Naga, Mukhya, Prithvidhara, Rudrajaya, Mitra. The central is Brahmaloga. The central area is Brahmaloga, and around it are the Gandharva, the Pitra. All are given places here as shown in the Vastu Purusha Mandala. The 81 columns, not 64, 81 columns are fully shown, the Vastu Purusha Mandala, and the significance. And you can see the image of the Purusha sitting in his head towards the northeast, and here his feet. That's a typical shown in Indian context, the Vastu Purusha. The book moves ahead, and now I will tell you about some practicalities he has mentioned so that he will become more clear. And here he discusses the directions. Okay, chapter on directions. He defines the 10 directions: east, west, north, south. There's the four. Then there's the 4 directions defined first. So then he moves ahead, and the Vastu Purusha and the 5 great elements he discusses, and he shows the 4 directions and the 5 elements. The north, south, east, west, and air, water, space, and the 5 elements as shown in the diagram. He discusses it, and what should be there. In the northwest is the air element, and the fire element in the southeast as shown. So these are the diagram he shows, and the book moves ahead in more practicalities of analyzing a house and explaining how to deal with them and set them perfectly. So the Vada Pitta Kapha has been included to show the attribute of human mind. The kapha predominates during the day from dawn to mid-morning for the first few hours after sunset in spring, and other things. Pitta predominates at night from mid-morning to mid-afternoon during the midnight hours in summer. Vada predominates at dawn and dusk, the sandhyas, from mid-afternoon to dusk, and during the pre-dawn hours in autumn. Then those things are discussed. And the Dikpalas are defined. East, Purva by Indra, the king of the Devas. Southeast, Agneya by Agni. South, Dakshin by Yama. Southwest, Nairitya by Nriti, the power of chaos and dissolution. West, Paschima by Varuna. Southwest by Vayu. North by Kubera. Northeast by Ishana, Ishvara. Vertically above, that is the 9, vertically above and vertically below. Urdhva, vertically above is dominated by Brahma, the creator, and vertically below by the realm of Ananta or Shesha. The Nagaloka is towards bottom right here. So the book proceeds and it becomes more and more interesting as it proceeds. It discusses about the planets now, and that's quite interesting, where he says east, southeast, the directions, 8 directions. East is presided by Sun, southeast by Venus, south by Mars, southwest by Rahu Ketu, the moon's nodes, west by Saturn, northwest by Moon, north by Mercury, and northeast by Jupiter. So that is the astrology part involved in it. So this is the 9 planets involved. So then he describes in detail what is the factor of sun rules and moon rules. The sun rules east, the sun rules Sunday, deep dark red, vegetation, tiger, lion, deer, horses, geese. Pitta, the sense of sight, gold, copper, ruby. Father, males, powerful people, government officials, sattva. Then the moon is mother, northwest Monday, milky white, the mother, female, silver, bronze, pearl. Vada, kapha, the Mars, south Tuesday, bright red, siblings, chief, copper, coral, bloodstone, surgeons, butchers, barbers. Mercury rules north, green, animals, cats, brass, emerald, peridot, rajas, force. Jupiter, northeast, Thursday, yellow, animals in general, horse and elephant, 2-legged creatures like pigeons, swans, and human. Children, wise and learned person. Venus rules southeast, Friday, and he tells for all the 9 planets in detail in the book. So what is it about it says is that if you can digest a planetary pattern well, you will find it easier to access that planet's positive significations, the qualities of which you can develop in your life by judiciously developing the segments of your space ruled by the planet. The space inside your house in the particular directions, you can position it. For example, should Mercury's pattern agree with you, you can freely emphasize the northern direction in your life by positioning your desk so that you can read or study mercurial activities facing north, particularly on Wednesdays, Mercury days. Or you should dedicate a northern room of your home to a home business that involves accounting or tutoring of students, both mercurial. Thus you can arrive at conclusion using that explanation of the 9 planets. So confluence, a west-facing front door made of black wrought iron represents a triply confluent Saturn influence. A yellow sapphire set in gold doubly promotes Jupiter. Positive confluence promotes good space. Negative confluence multiplies balances. So he gives exercises, the 9 planetary patterns, and discusses the Jyotishical door. Where should the door be? He discusses and gives this chart. Here's the chart he has given for 9 planets, and wherever the door is placed upon the wall, this is the line, and he says a north or south facing front wall, where should the front door come? That is 63 feet long, has 9 segments that each measure 7 feet. A door that occupies the precise middle of the wall, its margins 28 feet from either corner, is a Jupiter door. Yes, he has shown, right, dividing. Where is the door come? That depends, and that influences the mind as well. So that is the discussion, and he comes back to the previous Mary's front door chart and discusses it as well. So that is how he is trying to elaborate it, and that is very nicely explained. So water, which is essential to all living beings, represents all that is creative in life. To situate water in the east, north or northeast of a building or room in the form of a stream, pond or fountain is to promote inspiration in that entire space. You can fix the fountain inside your house if you have money in that way. Yeah. So Jupiter represents the animal kingdom, horses and elephants in particular. To shelter a horse or elephant in your backyard and tend to it carefully can dramatically enhance Jupiter's influence in your life. Fortunately, you can achieve a similar effect by spending time around someone else's horses and elephants. Even a horseshoe may serve. Yellow, Jupiter's color. Then a home office adorned in yellow stimulates creative thinking. To facilitate the transformation of ideas and realities, you can add in a little saffron red. To request the sun to contribute some focused, purposeful activity to that space. Blending in some green will increase the intellectuality of the Rajasic Mercury, which may enrich meaningful discussions. And then southeast is the direction of fire element of Rajas, Rajogun, the Venus, and of Venus, the other of the great benefics. Light that enters in a living space from the southeast will take on a southeastern Rajasic Venusian tang. So that's how they discuss thing. So Venus, who in India is said to be a king among poets, rules eloquence, and southeast can support expressiveness in cuisine, conversation and composition alike. A kitchen, music room or painting atelier become even more Venusian when painted radiant white or in gaily hued shades. Yeah. So Venus rules all sort of entertainments. So fashion designers and interior decorators also follow archetypically Venusian professions. So Sun and Venus alike rule the vegetable kingdom. It suggests that the southeast quadrant should house its share of plants, particularly those that yield white and very fragrant flowers. Then he discusses southwest, northeast in detail, what should be placed where, your house, the complete architecture, the plan, and what should be placed, idea about it inside your house that gives you more idea. So thus he proceeds further and discusses about it. So this is the chart he provides. This is the Jyotisha chart, South Indian, and this is the chart he provides for the home, what room should come where. Top is north and below is south, and then east and west, and that is the chart. He clearly explains what should be placed where and the idea behind it. So that's a good book on detailed explanation where should be the dining room. The dining room can occupy any of the cardinal directions, though most commentators suggest that locating it in the west will provide a certain desirable Saturnian dimension to the act of eating. Dining room's location is certainly less important in the bigger picture than is self-control during meals. Among the most significant of Ayurvedic rules for eating, then he gives the rules, and then he suggests where should you place the TV, concentrate on your meal, banish TV and radio from the dining room, and sound system. Although then kitchen, where it should come. Kitchen, some Vastu practitioners call the stomach, the home stomach. So one such confluent factor should be a northeast kitchen in which the stove appears along the south, southwest or west walls. So these are all discussed in detail. Where should the library come? The library was studied as best on the home's west direction of Saturn. Living room. So where should the living room come? Where should the portrait come? So living room, as he says, the room central Brahmasthana should be open. The shrine room, the prayer room, the room remedies. It's all beautifully explained. The colors, all those things. White ruled by moon, Venus, that all those. Red ruled by sun, orange ruled by sun, yellow by Jupiter. These colors are given, and so sun can be large trunk, tall growing, strong trees, red flowers, white flowers. Saturn, Mars, Rahu, Ketu, same as Saturn, Mars. They are related with each other. So that is the way the book goes, and it talks about garden, how it should be arranged in the house, the Vastu aspects of it in detail, what should be were and all those things. It talks about the Navarasas and its influence. Yeah. Selecting an architect, you can probably select an architect who knows about it and arrange, or you can arrange many things yourselves based on this good book. So that book is very nicely written and well explained, and gives it a fairly good idea on the science of Vastu Shastra. Vastu by E.Svoboda. The book in detail discusses about what should be placed where in your house so that your mind will work brilliantly, peacefully. Home is the place where you should get all peace of mind and happiness, and that should be arranged in a positive, good way so that you can lead a peaceful life with your family, your wife, kids, grandfather, grandmother, your home, the way you communicate with them, the happiness in your mind, your luck, the omen you see when you go out of the house, all those things, and the beautiful way you want to live your life, and the artistic way it helps to promote your mind, to promote your creativity and give you more space to learn and lead a fruitful life. So thank you. That was the review on this beautiful book called Vastu by E.Svoboda. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.